Ben Johnson, your new head coach. Can't tell you how excited I am to get back home and get going. Sky, you mine. Let's go, baby.
There he is, the new head coach of the Minnesota men's basketball program, Ben Johnson. I'm Mike Hall here in Chicago. We're going to take you out to Minneapolis in a matter of moments when Ben Johnson is ready to officially meet the media. He will be introduced as the new man in charge of this program, a program that has great history but is looking for success in a way they haven't seen in a while. Haven't won a regular season title in the Big Ten since 1982. And they're turning to a guy who was basically born right around then in Ben Johnson, a man who used to be a player with Minnesota, used to be an assistant coach there as well, has spent a long time being an assistant coach. More on that in a second. So he actually started his career in college out at Northwestern, then transferred back home to be a Golden Gopher and was a two-time captain with Minnesota. He's been an assistant coach for a long time, starting in 2005, 6 different schools. Most recently, he was at Xavier, but he was an assistant coach with the Gophers underneath Richard Pitino, was under Tim Miles at Nebraska, was at Northern Iowa, Texas Pan Am in Dayton. Again, spent 5 years with Richard Pitino as an assistant coach and was known for recruiting some great players like Amir Coffey and Daniel Oturu. Here's a look at him. He spent the last 3 years, again, as the assistant at Xavier. This is the first time he's ever been a head coach, but he has very, very strong ties to the Minnesota area. In fact, he's known for being great in high school and the AAU section right around here. Now he's going to be a head coach, and he's going to try to turn the tide around. Richard Pitino had a couple successful years, but as you can see, overall, in his 8 seasons, only 2 NCAA tournament appearances. Tubby Smith went 3 times. Dan Monson won. Clem Haskins won. Jim Dutcher won there as well, but they are looking for success. They've never won a Big Ten tournament title before. Hopefully, Ben Johnson is going to be able to be the man who can take them to that next level. There's a look at the podium in Minneapolis. We're told he should be there momentarily, and you will hear from the new Gopher head coach. Here's questions from the media. As you can tell, it's obviously a socially distanced gathering, not what you would usually see for a brand new head coach. We're also going to hear from the athletic director, Mark Coyle. Here is what Mark Coyle has already said in a statement. Ben is a proven coach who's ready to lead his own program. He has earned this opportunity and is a tremendous teacher, recruiter, and relationship builder. I am thrilled for him to lead his alma mater, and I'm excited for the future of our men's basketball program. Johnson himself released a statement already saying, "The University of Minnesota is such a special place and has impacted me in immeasurable ways on and off the court. I want to thank President Joan Gable, Mark Coyle, Julie Manning, and everyone involved in the search process for believing in me and trusting me to lead this historic program. I am ready to get to work." Meanwhile, the president of Minnesota, Joan Gable, says this: "Athletics is such an inviting front porch for so much of the great work we do here at the university. Few programs are more visible or closely followed than Gopher men's basketball. To have someone like Ben Johnson leading this program, an ambassador for our university who grew up here, went to school here, and knows what the university is all about, is tremendous for our basketball program and our institution. Like so many Minnesotans, I'm excited to welcome Ben home and look forward to our team's success under his leadership." Ben Johnson, again, was a Gopher basketball player. He started off at Northwestern, but came back home to be a Gopher for his final couple years. Graduated from Minnesota in the year 2005, scored 1,200 points in his career playing in the barn. Has great history in that state. Again, he's a Minneapolis native. When he was in high school, won a state title. In fact, won 2 state titles playing for the team. So here's a look at what Minnesota did this year. It started off great. They were 11-4 in their first 15 games, averaging almost 80 points a contest. But then everything went south. The last couple months of the year, they only had 3 wins total. Their scoring went down about 13 points per game. That, of course, aligned with their field goal percentage dropping, their three-point percentage dropping, and their defense went in the opposite direction. They allowed almost 47% of their opponent's shots to go in, and almost 40% of the three-pointers their opponents shot went in. That is why they ended up with an under 500 record this year, going 14-15. They then dismissed Richard Pitino, who's now moved on to already be a head coach in the Southwest. And that means they're bringing this guy in, Ben Johnson, new head coach. Scored more than 1,200 points when he was at not only Minnesota, but also Northwestern. Again, started in '99, transferred over from Evanston to Minneapolis to finish out his career there. He's an assistant coach for a while. Let's go through what he did. In 06 to 08, he was at Texas Pan Am. From 08 to 2012, he was an assistant coach at Northern Iowa. 12 to 13, he was an assistant at Nebraska, where Tim Miles was his head coach. Then he became a Gopher assistant and was there from 2013 to 2018. Richard Pitino was the head coach at that time. He left and then went on to Xavier, where he was an assistant coach the last 3 years. Again, he's known for having great contacts in the high school and the AAU world. He was a very talented recruiter when he was at Minnesota. Amir Coffey, Daniel Oturu, just some of the names he was able to bring over when he was the assistant at Minnesota. Look at the last 6 years for the Minnesota former head coach Richard Pitino. Under 500 this year, under 500 last year as well. 2018-2019, he had 22 wins. 2016-2017, he had 24 wins. So he was able to go to the NCAA tournament both those years. But in 2017, they were a 5 seed and got upset in a 12-5 game. In 2019, they were a 10 seed, beat Louisville in their first game, but then lost to the Spartans in their second game. So only one tournament win for him in his tenure as a head coach. And you look at the right side, that column tells a lot of what you know is the problem. The conference one-loss record has just been subpar. Only one winning season the last 6 in terms of conference play. That was in 2016 and 2017, when again they were a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. We're going to hear from Ben Johnson momentarily. There's a look at him officially getting on the plane to head to Minneapolis. Heading home, as he said. A man who is a young coach, too. Only 40 years old. Older than Richard Pitino was when he was hired, but still a young man for the head coaching game. The last 3 years, again, he was an assistant coach at Xavier. Never been a head coach at any level. He went straight from being a college player to being an assistant coach. And he's worked his way up. Was a grad assistant first, then he became an assistant coach. And he's been an assistant coach 6 different places before he's come to this job now in Minneapolis, where he will be the first-time head coach taking over a Gopher program. About to see him come on out, and when he does, you will hear him address the media. Got to get Goldie first. Yeah, check the room, make sure it's safe. Yeah, hi Goldie, we got you. Pitino stepping aside. After 4 of his 8 years, he was under 500 overall. A Minnesota team that lost 8 of their last 9 games of the regular season this year. But such a great tradition there. One of the best buildings, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. Williams Arena, the barn, which holds 14,000 fans. And they're normally, in non-COVID times, able to scream and yell and make it a great advantage for a team. And they could have used that perhaps this year, especially down the stretch as Minnesota fell apart there at the end. 11 wins in the first 15 games, only 3 wins in the final 14 games they played this year. They've now had a losing record in 3 of the last 4 years. And, of course, postseason NCAA tournament success is something they're looking for. They've only been to 6 NCAA tournaments this millennium. 2005, 2009 and 10, 2013, 2017, and 2019. They've only had 2 wins in an NCAA tournament this millennium as well. Last one, a regular season title in the Big Ten back in 1982. And they're handing over the reins of the program to that man. Pocket square is on. Maroon and gold M is on the lapel. Ben Johnson, ready to become the newest head coach of Minnesota. Let's go out to Minneapolis and listen in to the ceremony.
right, thank you, Goldie. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'll give you a quick run of show, and then we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Paul Rovnak. I'm an Associate Athletic Director here at the University of Minnesota. First, I'll introduce University of Minnesota President Joan Gable. She'll have some brief opening remarks. She'll introduce Director of Athletics Mark Coyle, who will also have some brief opening remarks. Mark will then introduce men's basketball head coach Ben Johnson. Coach Johnson will make an opening statement, then we'll take questions from the media. Once he's done, we'll invite Director Coyle back up to take some questions from the media. And once he's done, that'll conclude our press conference. So again, thank you all for joining us. And with that, I'd like to welcome President Gable.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Paul. Thanks to our athletic director, Mark Coyle, for his tremendous leadership of our department, and to him and the entire search committee for their great work and what brings us here today. When Mark and I first discussed this search and this hire, we talked about the importance of a coach, not only for the men's basketball program, but for how athletics serves as the front porch of the entire institution. Gopher Athletics is such an important access point for so many people in our state and beyond, from those watching in person, watching on TV, listening on the radio. Mark and I also talked about the importance of the coach having character and understanding what we were about, what we stood for, who knew how to win, but knew how to win the Gopher way. And I'd heard about Ben Johnson. I heard he was a terrific player, that he was from here, that he had coached here. But after having the opportunity to meet him and talk to him, I was sold on his character and his commitment and how these attributes intersect to bring us to this important homecoming today. I extend my very best wishes to Coach Johnson, and I know that today is just the first day in a successful and storied program that will only grow in stature and accomplishments. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Athletic Director Mark Coyle. Thank you.
Good morning. It's an exciting day for Gopher Athletics, and I want to thank all of you for being here. I also want to extend my gratitude and thanks for President Gable. She has spent way too much time with me in the search committee over the past week, and we were very grateful for her time and her involvement in this process. I would also like to take a moment to thank the search committee. A week ago, we stood up here talking about the transition with our men's basketball program. And we'd like to be very efficient and move as quickly as we can. And I'd like to recognize our search committee, who spent a lot of time the past week together to get this important hire in Ben Johnson. I'd like to thank Julie Manning, our Deputy Athletics Director and Sport Administrator for men's basketball. We have Dusty Clements, Dr. Francis Homans, our Faculty Athletic Rep. We have Peyton Owens. We have Tricia Butke, Jeremiah Carter, Tim McCleary, and of course Quincy Lewis, who all played a very important part in this search process. So I want to thank each of you for your time, your commitment to get the right person in Ben Johnson here today at the University of Minnesota. I'd also like to thank our Office of General Counsel. Doug Peterson, Brent Benrud have been incredibly helpful. They provide great guidance and counsel, so we're grateful for their help and involvement. And I want to thank our men's basketball student athletes. I had a chance to do a Zoom with them last week when we made this change. I had a chance to visit again with them last night, and they've handled everything the right way, and I'm really grateful for our men's basketball student athletes. Of course, I'd like to thank our staff, our donors, our fans of this great program. We are able to attract people like Ben Johnson back to the University of Minnesota because of all of you and your commitment and what you do for our program, and I hope you know how much I appreciate your hard work and your dedication and belief in what we're doing. And finally, I want to thank you, Ben. I want to thank you for believing in us and believing in this program. I want to thank you for being a change agent. There's no doubt you're going to do wonderful things here at the University of Minnesota, and you know the people behind you, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure you have great success. So I can tell you, when we started this search last week, I've been very blessed to spend time at Kentucky, to spend time at Syracuse and some other programs. And when I talked to people I worked with in the past, they talked about the importance of recruiting. I talked about that last week. Not only did they talk about the importance of recruiting, but they talked about the importance of recruiting in the state of Minnesota. And I am absolutely convinced that we found the best person to lead this program. As President Gable talked about, he has unbelievable character, integrity. He understands that doing it right in Minnesota matters. He understands what it means to put on that jersey and to represent this great institution, this community, and this state. So I am absolutely convinced that we've got the right person here now to represent our program and be the change agent that we know he can be. So please join me in welcoming head coach Ben Johnson.
Hello, everybody. Now, obviously, there's a lot of thanks. This is a special day for me. Goes without saying. Couldn't be more excited to come home and to be home. And this is home. And when you talk about a dream job and a dream opportunity, this is it. I've hit it. And so there's many thanks, and it starts with obviously President Gable. I thank you. And I think the minute that I got a chance to sit down with you at Mark's home and hear your vision and feel your presence, your energy, everything that you're about, I knew that's when I had to get this job. Everything was aligned, and she's about the right stuff. And that's not only for our student athletes, but the entire university. So I thank you. Mark Coyle has been unbelievable through this entire process. I thank you for believing in me. I'm not going to let you down. But your vision and for the student athletes that we have here, your passion for Minnesota and Minnesota basketball is second to none. And we're going to take that energy and that passion and we're going to run with it. Julie Manning's been unbelievable, helped me out a ton. There's one thing I do have to apologize. I think you told me to remember a passport and a wallet, and I forgot both. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But you've been awesome, and again, you're about everything that is right about Gopher basketball and the University of Minnesota. So with the leadership and the rest of the search committee, again, this is full circle for me. And the amount of texts and calls and Instagram, Twitter, positive messages that I've received has really taken aback. I think the love that people have for this school and this university, this program is special. And that's why I'm so excited to be here. I think Minnesota is really hungry to really get this thing back rolling. I think every coach when they leave wants to leave the place better than when it was when they got here. And I think Richard did that. I think, an NIT championship, 2 NCAA tournaments, and working with him, I know the amount of energy and passion he had for this university, and he did a great job. And so now it's my job and our job to expand on that and to see how far we can take it. I think the state of Minnesota knows what, Gopher basketball is all about and the passion with Gopher basketball. And I think we're going to do our best. I know we're going to do our best to recruit the right student athletes that are here, that are going to handle their business on and off the floor, that are going to make everybody proud, and that are going to really honor wearing the maroon and gold. So I want to thank everybody. If I haven't gotten back to you on a text or on a call, I will. But the support's been felt, and the love is real. So I appreciate it. And with that, I think we'll take any questions.
Coach, we'll go ahead and take questions now from the media members. Please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you. And just state your name and affiliation. So we'll start with Marcus.
Marcus Fuller, Minneapolis Star Tribune. Ben, congratulations. Can you share with us the vision that you spoke to Mark Coyle and President Gable about this university and men's basketball program, maybe your system, your philosophy, style of play, just things that obviously recruits and players are interested to know?
Yeah, I think obviously, the first and foremost is to be able to do a good job within state. I think you've seen over time that we have a lot of talented players that understand how to play. We have great high school coaches, great AAU coaches, and kids that just, have a good feel, know how to play basketball. So we got to do our job within the state to keep those guys home. I want every kid, just like myself, that grew up, they need to be looking forward to one day playing, at Williams Arena. They need to look forward to trying to become a Gopher and kind of create that energy and that enthusiasm. We got to do our job by selling it the right way and by recruiting them the right way and being aggressive. I wish we could take them all. We can't, but we just got to make sure we take the right ones. And I think that's embodies everything. That's obviously you got to be talented enough on the floor, but you got to have character and substance off the floor. You got to be about the right things. And I think you'll see that with our team. I think Minnesota's a blue-collar state, and we're a work-hard state. We're about substance and being consistent and being truthful and having integrity and having character and doing things the right way. And so we're going to find student athletes that embrace all that, and we're going to get it going.
Ina Greeter, St. Paul Pioneer Press. Ben, as a Minnesotan, as a player who left and then came back and as an assistant here, how would you describe the challenges at the University of Minnesota, and how would you go about trying to make those fixes?
I think everywhere you go, there's challenges. I don't care where you're at. There's always something. But I think you got to flip it. You can't dwell on what might be a negative. I think we have so many positives here that kind of outweighs the negative, and it's not close, in my opinion. When you have the in-state recruiting base, which is huge, you have the fan base, which is hungry and passionate. You have the support, from the president to the athletic administration all the way on down. I think we have hungry students that are ready to get the barn back rocking. I don't worry too much about the negatives. I try to focus on going forward and pushing through and worrying about all the positives that we have here, which I know far outweigh any negatives that there might be.
Charles Holman, Minnesota Sports Recorder. Welcome back, Ben.
Thank you.
When we talked in December, we talked about keeping on the legacy of John Thompson. 3 years ago, the Big Ten had 0 black head coaches. In less than 2 weeks, it now has 3. Can you speak on just the significance of your presence of being a head coach, definitely at your alma mater in your home city?
Yeah. No, it's unbelievable. I think it's hopefully a sign of the times. I think that's a credit to the leadership. I'll be honest, guys like myself haven't been afforded these opportunities in the past. That's the elephant in the room. We all know that, right? But, our leadership has stepped up and has provided this platform for myself. And so now it's my job to, do the best I can, and hopefully I can open doors for the next guy. I have a lot of friends that are very capable coaches. And, I was fortunate. There's a lot of things that fell into place to put me in this position I am today. And I'm humbled by that. And I realize that. There's a lot of guys that could be up here. I get that. I don't think I'm a guy that thinks I have all the answers. But I do think I'm the right guy, and I know I'm the right guy for this job. And hopefully over time, we'll be able to do enough, in my opinion, where I can help the next guy. But I think that change is awesome to see, and I think you'll start seeing more and more of it across the board throughout the country, I hope. I came from the Big East, where I think we had the most minority coaches in the country. And we took honor in that, and it was special. And so you got to conduct yourself the right way and do things the right way with integrity. And like I said, I know I'm planning on doing that, and hopefully you'll see this kind of change more throughout the country.
John Krasinski from The Athletic. Ben, kind of looking back on this last week, I wonder if you could just take us through the process a little bit. You said this is your dream job. Mm-hmm. And at what point did it kind of start to become clear to you that you had a chance at this position, and what was it like kind of navigating the emotions as it became clearer and clearer that this was going to be your job finally?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been through this process a couple times before, so you try not to ride the wave of emotion. And this one was obviously particularly harder because as I became more and more invested, it's like, you're almost expecting the breakup. You're expecting the heartbreak. So it's like you're taking yourself to that certain space knowing, man, this is 50-50, But I think, over time, I realized exactly kind of what they were looking for. I've always known what I thought the need was, and I thought I checked a lot of those boxes. And just going through the process and being able to sit down and have continuous talks, with Mark and the search committee, and them getting a feeling for my vision and who I am and what I'm about gave me confidence. And me knowing what they're about and what the university is about gave me confidence because I know that those things were aligned. And so, you never feel great. You never feel great until you get the phone call. And I'll remember, even when I got the phone call, it's like you see the name on the phone, and it's like, all right, this is judgment time, right? I pick it up, and you don't know which way it's going to go. And thankfully, like I said, Mark and his staff had confidence in me, and I'm here today and couldn't be more excited.
Hey, Ben, Dave Campbell with Associated Press. You've played and coached here, so you've seen at Williams Arena sort of at its loudest and best. I guess there may be others in the community or recruits who might not see that as an asset, just given its age. Just what do you tell them when you think about the facility here?
That is historic, that there's a lot of good players that have played on that court, and that is special, and that there's a lot of magic still left in there that we're going to dig out. I think its uniqueness separates us. I couldn't tell you the amount of players I've played against, the amount of coaches I've coached against that catch me on the road, and they always ask about Williams Arena. It's got the elevated court. When it's rocking, there's not a arena in the country that's louder. The fan base, it gets it going. And so I don't think that's a negative at all. I think it's a positive. I think, sometimes you get into some of these new arenas that are so NBA, there's really not a vibe. There's not a feeling. I mean, this is college basketball. This needs to be an intimate environment. It needs to have a little bit of flavor, a little bit of culture, and it's who we are, in my opinion, and it's what we're about. When I grew up, that was a big deal. I mean, Williams Arena in the Barn was a big deal. And when we win, it's going to get back to being a big deal. And I think, kids see that, and it's a special place, and we're going to get that out there.
Hi, Ben. I'm John Shipley. I'm with the Pioneer Press. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if you've talked to the kids on the team right now. I know some have entered the portal. I know the portal is life now in this. How many do you want to keep these kids here? Will you try to talk some of them into staying?
Oh, definitely. I got a chance to meet with the team yesterday, and I'm going to steal a line from PJ. They didn't choose me, I chose them. And that's the honest truth. I've been in their position, whether it's a coach or a player, and it's tough, especially when you come off a season where things didn't go your way, whether that was injuries or losses. It's hard, and coaching change is hard for anybody. I just told them, give it a chance and be open to change, and change doesn't always have to be bad. Change can be good, and thankfully, Andre Hollins is still here, who knows me. Eric Curry, who's still here, that knows me and I recruited. Gabe's still here, that knows me and I recruited. They can lean back on Amir. They can lean back on Daniel. And I said, be honest. I won't talk to those guys. I won't give them a script, tell them what to say. But if they answered honestly, they're going to tell you, I'm a good guy that's going to do it the right way, that you're going to enjoy being around, and that's going to push you to get better. And that's better on the court, that's better in the classroom, and that's trying to be a better man. And so I think over time, that trust will be developed. But I don't want any of those guys to leave. I want them to embrace this university, embrace this program, and have a lot of pride in what we're doing here.
Hi, Ben. Chip Scoggins with the Star Tribune. Two things here. When is your first recruiting phone call that you're going to make? And then second, we hear a lot about the recruiting, but what kind of style of play will we see from your team?
Yeah. Well, Chip, we've already made those. So as soon as the plane was able to land and we got some reception, we made those. So that'll be nonstop. You're right, with the portal, that's changed everything. And I think we're all trying to navigate that and figure that out for the first time. But recruiting is nonstop. Again, any free time I have, I'm going to try to find my phone and call a player, call a parent, call a coach, call somebody. And as far as style of play, a lot of that's dictated on personnel. So I can't give you an answer as far as specifics, but I want to play a winning style, whatever that might be based on personnel, and I want to play an exciting style. I want to be hard-nosed. I want to have some grit and a little bit of nasty, play with confidence and a chip on our shoulder. And I want to play the right way. We're going to be a team that, moving the ball is important to me on offense. Getting a great shot is important to me on offense. I love the three, as everybody does. But we got to recruit skill. We got to recruit guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot at a premium, like a premium, especially a shooting piece. But just have guys that are about the right stuff. I think that's important. We got to be able to have a locker room that's full of competitive winners that care about this university and care about getting us to a Big Ten championship, to a Final Four, to a national championship. Do things that people probably don't think we can do. I'm looking for that piece. You know, we'll find enough players that are good enough. You know, I'm looking for the intangible piece that get us over the top.
Ben, just how do you think your relationships with high school programs, AAUs and locally and stuff is going to help you in your stated goal of keeping players home here?
I think it'll help a lot. I couldn't tell you the number of texts from guys that I didn't even know honestly still have my number, you know, that congratulated me. You know, so I'm gonna lean on them. Like I said, you know, like any coach, I can't do it by myself. I've never, you know, I didn't get Amir Coffey by myself. I didn't get Gabe Kalsher by myself, Daniel Otero by myself. It takes help. And so I'm gonna lean on those guys and develop those relationships, let them know that they're important, let them know that I want them to be a piece of what we're doing. You know, I want every high school coach to feel like they're part of this. I want every AAU coach to feel like they're part of this. This is not my school or my this is our program. This is our school. And, you know, I think hopefully they'll continue to take pride in it because, like I said, I can't do it by myself, and they're a big piece, and they're good coaches. So I know if we can get the right guys, that when they get here, they're going to be ready to roll.
Ben, we've heard a little bit about your coaching style and what you want to see. Who are some of your coaching influences, and who do you look to as role models?
You know, I've been fortunate. I've worked for a lot of great coaches. You know, some actually involved in this search. So, you know, they've been great mentors to me. You know, all the way down to, you know, Brian Gregory, who recruited me out of high school. You know, I was a GA for him. You know, Tom Schubert, who gave me my first job. But then you've got, you know, Ben Jacobson, who's one of my biggest mentors, not only basketball-wise, but just helping me develop off the floor. Tim Miles, you know, obviously Travis Steele has really done a great job, not only with the Xavier program, but just with developing staff, you know, letting me grow as a coach. You know, those 3 years at Xavier, you know, the amount of freedom he gave me to coach and to grow helped put me in this position I am today. So forever grateful for him. You know, and Richard, you know, I learned a lot from him. His style was different than what I've ever been around, but it helped me grow on especially the defensive side of the basketball. So, you know, Tom Izzo's a guy, you know, he called me, and my story I think is kind of similar to his. You know, again, it's another guy that recruited me out of high school that I have a really good relationship with him and his staff, but I mean, Tom is Michigan State, Tom is Michigan, and I think that's who I am. And he was given his break at, I think, 35, and he's ran with it because he embodies what everything Michigan and Michigan State is about. And that's kind of a role model that I look at, you know, him and Matt Painter. You know, I think Paint's the same way at Indiana. He's an Indiana dude. And you can tell Purdue players and Michigan State players. And that's going to be our goal for, you know, I want our fans to say, that's a Minnesota dude. And I think you do that because all three of us have that same common thread. And we bleed it through and through. And we take a ton of pride in our state, in our program. And we're not going to fail.
Ben, can you talk a little bit about investment in the program? And obviously, Mark mentioned last week about assistant salary pool, head coaching salary pool as a whole, and trying to, you know, attract maybe for your staff some experienced coaches.
Yeah, no, I mean, Mark's commitment to success has been unbelievable. You know, he's put us in position to really kill it. You know, the amount of calls even that I've gotten from guys in the business that have had interest, I mean, it would shock probably some of you, from blue bloods on down. So now it's my job. We got to figure out the right core, the right group. But like I said, the resources we have here I'll put them up against anybody, from the practice facility to the arena to the campus to the people that are here and obviously to the money. You know, I'll put that up against anybody. So we have a lot of things here to sell. I think people are excited about the possibilities of what we could do and what we will do here. So we'll find a great staff and we'll knock it out.
Then maybe some of those mentors have already offered their opinions on this to you, but what do you think the steepest part of the learning curve will be as far as becoming a head coach for the first time and doing it in the Big Ten?
I mean, obviously there's the obvious, you know, I've never in a live game, you know, made an adjustment, called a timeout. I think probably for me off the bat would be the patience part. You know, I want it all now. I want the recruits to sign now. I want practice to start now. I want games to start now. I want fans back in the building now. I want to be at a Big Ten championship level now. And I think it's just me slowing down and understanding that there's a process and to stick to the process. And if you stick to the process through the ups and downs, that's the success is on the horizon. So I would say that, just, you know, calm the excitement down and just worry about being here now and worry about today and doing the best you can today and staying to the course today. And if you can build that, you can sustain being consistent. And I think that's the key, just trying to be a consistent day-to-day guy and build from there.
AJ Conn, Minnesota Daily. You mentioned you liked the three ball. This team this past year obviously loved it a lot. They shot the most, one of the most in the NCAA, but also had one of the worst percentages. How do you expect that to be able to change in the future?
Hopefully it will. I mean, that's the one thing about the three. You know, everybody loves it, but, you know, sometimes it's going to be a psychological thing because I think we have good shooters. I really do. It's just working. It's putting the work in. You know, it's getting reps up. It's getting that confidence. It's getting that swagger back. It's living in the gym, and it's falling in love with being in the gym. And, you know, from the group yesterday that I talked to, I think they're hungry. You know, like I said, sometimes it's fun to hit the reset button, and everybody gets a clean slate. And so we're going to hit the reset button. We're going to get back in the gym, and we're going to work, and we're going to put trust in our work, and then we're going to recruit that skill as well. You know, I think that's a big piece of it. You can't be a good shooting team if you don't recruit good shooters. That's a hard skill to really excel at and be elite at, and I want to be elite at that. So that's going to be a high level of interest when we're on the road, is find guys that do that naturally. But the guys that are here, I mean, we're going to have a development plan in place to really put them in position to have success and have confidence and to have freedom to take and make shots.
Hey, Ben, the portal has changed college basketball in a significant way. How do you, as a coach, how do you balance trying to build a program with high school recruits and develop them with the fluidity of just the portal from year to year, your roster changing over?
Yeah. I think it's twofold. I think, one, as a coach, you got to understand there's probably going to be turnover as much as we don't want it, and you've got to kind of plan accordingly. You know, you can't fake it and act like everybody's going to be happy because everybody wants to play, and then all of a sudden you're surprised when a couple of guys go into the portal and you're not prepared to have a backup plan for them. And then I think the other thing is you got to be really strategic with your roster. You know, I think the days of having 13 guys on scholarship are probably gone because you can't keep 13 guys happy. So you got to be able to manage your roster size and manage, all right, who's really going to get minutes, how many guys am I comfortable playing, and kind of figure it out from there, because it's going to happen. And, you know, I don't think anybody's is going to be able to avoid it. I don't care if you're Duke, Kentucky, Minnesota, or, you know, a lower level team. I think everybody's going to face it, and now it's just having a plan in place and realizing it's going to happen even though you hope it doesn't, and then hope that your relationship that you have with your kids will carry you through any tough time or turmoil. That relationship with the kids, relationship with the family, whoever that champion person in that player's group is, and being able to have that trust built so that through tough times they're able to push through, because there's going to be tough times and you got to be able to push through. But just having an awareness of all that is key.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it. We'll invite Director of Athletics Mark Coyle back up for a few questions. So, Coach, thank you. Mark, welcome back to the podium.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Mark, one thing that does stand out about Ben a little bit is the lack of experience as a head coach. How did you kind of factor that into your decision-making process, and how do you kind of try to project what kind of in-game coach you think you're getting in addition to the person that you know here?
Yeah, well, a couple of comments. Next time we do a search, I'm going to include all of you because you're asking the same questions that President Gable and I and the search committee were asking. And I'll tell you this. Had a chance to talk to Coach Steele, obviously who Ben's been working with, and he talked about the leadership role that he put Ben in at Xavier, working closely with the offense and trying to prepare Ben for this next step was a big part of our thought process. And I learned a great lesson when I was at Kentucky. I had a chance, when you're the deputy athletics director, you're really popular because you're the number 2 behind the scenes and nobody's taking shots and so forth. And, I learned when we made our hire of Coach Calipari and spending time with him, and I had a chance to talk to him last week. And Coach Calipari always talks about the importance of recruiting. And if you look at the coaches that we've brought in the past 5 years, a lot of them are here today. If you look at them, the one common thread is they do a phenomenal job of recruiting people who can compete on this campus academically, athletically, and socially. It sends a strong, strong message when your president is in the room when you're interviewing candidates because they clearly understand the importance of this position. And so, again, what his experience at Xavier, different coaches I talked to about Ben and his ability, I'm not worried about the in-game stuff. He knows how to X and O with anybody. He'll learn how to do the timeouts. He'll surround himself with a great staff. And Ben talked about that when we met with him Sunday at our house. So we feel very comfortable and we're confident that we got the best person for Minnesota basketball to take us to the next level that this program deserves.
Mark, you mentioned the meeting on Sunday. What were some of the attributes and bullet points that were part of Ben's plan?
Well, first off, he was very smart. He wore a Gopher pullover, which caught our attention right away. So great move on that side. But again, Ben was very direct. Ben talked about the style play in terms of athletic kids, kids who embrace the academic challenges of a Big Ten institution. Again, Ben has done this walk. He can look at any student athlete. He has done this walk in terms of being a student athlete at a Big Ten institution with the expectations to compete at a high level. So again, the very first thing he talked about was recruiting and making sure we get the right kids that can compete on this campus. And again, he's talking with me, he's talking with some members of our search committee, he's talking to President Gable. He laid out a very clear vision that we are going to compete at the highest level. And again, I'm incredibly competitive. President Gable's competitive. We want to do things the right way. And again, his plan of, recruiting the right type of kid, recruiting the in-state kid, recruiting the kid regionally that can come to this program. We look around our region and the number of kids that aren't here, we're going to get them here. And he laid that out very clearly for us.
Yeah, Mark, along those lines, how much did the fact that you see kids going elsewhere and playing in an NCAA tournament for other schools really stick with you the last couple of years? And did you get input from high school coaches or AAU coaches about Ben in your vetting process?
Chip, that's a great question. Obviously we pay attention. Again, I'm very fortunate that I work with a great group of coaches, a lot of them here, who do a phenomenal job recruiting. And they will all tell you that you've got to lock down your home state first. Those successful programs, they lock down their state and they keep the top talent here locally. And again, when I talk to different coaches across the country, again, I've been very fortunate and I had a chance to talk to a lot of head coaches across the country from all parts of the country. West, East, South, North, they all talked about the one thing about recruiting, and Minnesota has so much talent in the state right now. And I can tell you, after we made the announcement with Coach Johnson, I've heard from different high school coaches, different AAU people sending me texts saying, home run hire, absolute great hire, because he can sell this great institution, the academic accolades that we have, the athletic success that we know we're going to have. So again, we feel like it's a perfect fit and the perfect time for our program.
Mark, how many others did you formally interview for the job? And also through the process of not just interviewing others, but just vetting candidates, what did you learn about the program that maybe gave you a different perspective?
Well, I can tell you, we were around maybe 8 to 10 people. I'm trying to look at some of the search committee members. We did a series of Zoom calls with an initial group of candidates, and then we narrowed it down to a handful of candidates that we wanted to spend time with President Gable at my house or our house with Kristen. I need to give a shout out to Kristen, by the way. She was phenomenal, adjusting everything for us. But and again, I think I talked to you last Monday or Tuesday after we made the change, and I talked about there's great interest in this program. And there's great interest in this program because of this facility we're sitting in right now. I can tell you when we met Coach Fleck back in Chicago, we talked about, hey, we're building something that's going to change this place. And this facility sends a strong, strong message. And I can tell you, one of you asked about Williams Arena and the importance of Williams Arena, and we asked Ben that question. And we absolutely love Ben's answer. We see that as a positive in the history, the tradition of that facility. So again, there was great interest in this job. We had a very qualified group of people that we talked to. It was a very diverse group of people that we talked to. And again, we are ecstatic that Coach Johnson's here as our next basketball coach.
About having a competitive salary pool, and obviously with Ben's salary, it's a little lower than Richard's was, but how can you spread that around his staff and make it competitive in the Big Ten?
Yeah, thank you, Marcus. We've had very honest conversations with Ben, and we plan to adjust our salary pool for our assistant coaches. Andy, back to your question, Ben was very specific in terms of, hey, these are the type of coaches I'm going to target to be my assistants, and that caught our attention. I mean, he listed the type of characteristics that he's looking for. And Marcus, we realized that for us to go out and compete for those type of coaches, we need to adjust our salary pool. So by having some flexibility with the head coach's salary, we're able to adjust our salary pool for our assistant coaches. And again, we want to do everything. I told Ben last night when he touched down, he and I are connected at the hip. I'm going to do everything I can. Our staff is going to do everything we can to make sure he has success at a high, high level, because he has earned this right. I mean, this dude has been all over the country. He has earned this right to be at Minnesota, and we're so humbled that he's here now representing our program.
Mark, I'm not seeing any further questions, so that will conclude the question and answer part of this press conference. I would like to invite Coach Johnson and President Gable back up to the stage to take some photos, though. So we appreciate everyone joining us, and if the President and Coach Johnson could return to the stage for a couple of photos, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
So there it is, official news. Ben Johnson, the newest head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers men's basketball team. We heard him and Mark Coyle talk an awful lot about one consistent theme: recruiting in-state kids. There are some talented players in this state, and they believe too many of them have gotten away. Of course, Gonzaga, one of the favorites to win the NCAA tournament, has a kid from Minnesota. As there you see Johnson holding up the official jersey. But he even said one of the first things, do a good job in-state, keep that relationship he has with those high school coaches and the AAU coaches. Here's a look at his career. He was a player at Northwestern in Minnesota, assistant coach at 6 different schools, including the Gophers from 2013 to 2018. Important, too, he now joins Penn State and Michigan. There are 3 black head coaches in the world of Big Ten men's basketball. He also talked about his style of play, saying it'll depend on personnel, but he wants exciting, hard-nosed, chip on your shoulder, move the ball offense, and said again and again he loves the 3. We will have much more on this as Ben Johnson is the newest head coach of Minnesota tonight on The Big Show, 7 o'clock Central Time.